It's another Dead in Hip Hop conversation. Today we'll be talking about Drake's So Far Gone. But if you want classic album reviews, make sure you go check out our Patreon. You are able to vote on which classic we'll review, and we drop it exclusively for y'all.
Are you saying it's a classic?
Yeah,
It feels a classic.
I can't even get into nothing.
I mean, you know, we were doing the classic review on Patreon. We could have that discussion. But this is just the 10-year anniversary of the album, which I think is the first time that we're doing something like this. I don't think we've done many anniversary projects before in the past.
But 10 years ago, man, the guy that we know as Drake was birthed from this mixtape. And it's not to say that this was his first project, it's just to say that we didn't know, in terms of the masses, we didn't know who the hell Drake was before this project. And I want to say it was extremely influential because, and it's very, very ironic that he also signed to Wayne, because I feel like Wayne set up the table for this to be able to blow up the way it did, because prior to this, Wayne created the whole mixtape thing, right? Like, Wayne was dropping mixtape after mixtape, taking the hottest song and redoing it and making it hotter than yours, and everybody was playing it on the radio. And
You're not gonna get love to 50.
But 50 didn't really kill the mixtape game like the way Wayne did. Like,
I thought he started putting out like original songs. I don't think Wayne was doing that.
No, I agree, but what I'm saying is that mixtapes weren't the thing when 50 was doing it. Mixtapes were the thing when Wayne was doing it.
I'll challenge you on that. So what about the Squad Up mixtapes? Wasn't that before 50?
I think it all was before 50, but
Okay.
I think there was something that 50 did. I think he kind of took it to another level. I think he was.
But the Squad Up tapes had original content on them though.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Ooh.
Before Wayne, and that was
How
like,
the meme go?
man, you took me down memory lane, because that's when Wayne and Juvenile was beefing. That's when Wayne dropped 500 Degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. To me, Wayne, he just kind of set the market for mixtapes. And I think at the mixtape height, this came out and it really did not sound like anything else at the time. Because, you know, obviously we had the Ja Rules, what would I do without you? But Drake wasn't on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was literally that much different. And then the fact that he had Wayne on here, you know what I'm saying, on ignorant shit. And then he had big Unstoppable.
Yeah.
He also had
Bun B.
Lloyd, Bun B, and Trey Songz. Successful, and Wayne was on that one too. Like, I feel like Successful was that first joint that when you heard that, you were like, what is this?
But what was crazy about it is that the artists were bigger than him at the time.
They
And
were.
It's just like, that's what made you want to listen to the song,
Well,
because
that's
of the
what made
artists.
it interesting, because you look, you know, this was around the internet time, right? So you had all these internet artists that were dropping the blogs and stuff, and they were dropping these full projects, these mixtapes on sites, and everybody was downloading. It was like the Wild Wild West or the Gold Rush. And, you know, there were dope projects, but we didn't have one like this that had all of these A-list, if we want to call them that, artists on here. So you're trying to understand the relationship between, okay, how did this guy that did Room for Improvement and Comeback Season go from working with Fonte and Eric Roberson to getting Wayne, to Wayne,
It's funny because you put Drake in it now. Like, that's so crazy because he's on that level now.
Trey Songz, like all of these people that were known at the time, Bun B and Marion, come on, like, what's going on? So immediately you're like, okay, I gotta listen to this, because Wayne was hot too.
Yes.
Like, he was smoking.
That's what I'm saying. Wayne was the hottest artist out.
Oh yeah,
He was the
yeah.
hottest artist. Like, outside of Jay-Z at that time, and I'll give you 50, right? Because 50, this is around 50 and Kanye, right?
The Massacre, yeah.
This was around that time too. So I'll give you 50, and obviously Kanye was hot, but Wayne was the guy. Wayne was the one getting the play on the radio. Wayne was the guy remixing everybody's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Wayne was everywhere. So for that affiliation to happen, it was just like, this came out of nowhere. You're 100% right. And then, you know, obviously,
Sort of. Because Drake was signed to Cortez, can't think of his full name, Cortez, which was Drake's manager.
Wayne's manager.
And Wayne's, so he was signed to Cortez the year before in 2008. There was like some management behind the scenes, you know, things going on that got him to this point. So there was some phone calls made.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
there was a push for Drake.
Didn't really.
Yeah, we didn't know.
That.
We didn't know.
It wasn't for public consumption.
Right.
The things that were happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dropped out of
It
nowhere.
was Degrassi money.
Oh, you thought it was Degrassi money?
That's what I knew him from. I watched Degrassi. I didn't know.
I did not know this guy. I remember like when I remember
Y'all
when
didn't
I
watch
saw
Degrassi?
Yeah, I get you. I remember when I saw. Wait, so off of Degrassi, you knew he was Drake?
He was wheelchair Jimmy.
So Degrassi was my shit.
Okay.
All right. I still like Degrassi. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I still fuck with Degrassi.
Grow up.
I will not.
It's still on TV?
Yeah.
Really?
Netflix has it now.
Wow. I'm gonna go watch it.
It's good.
They got all the seasons?
I don't think I have all those.
Oh damn, I wanna see Drake.
Yeah, they don't have the Drake ones.
So he probably won't give him clearance to use it.
Probably not.
I had no
I had
idea.
no idea either.
Degrassi. That's
I
how
knew it later. I knew later, but yeah, I didn't know. I was like, damn, this has been out that long.
Bruh, I've been watching Degrassi since I was probably in 4th grade, 5th grade.
Wow.
Because
So
Degrassi was like Saved by the Bell,
That's what
but
I
it was
had.
violent. Motherfuckers got killed. Motherfuckers were getting pregnant. Like, it was some serious shit. So when
How did you find this shit?
it used to come on like PBS or something when I was younger.
Really?
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was up on Degrassi
Yeah.
before I knew anything about any fucking Drake.
I get that.
Okay.
How did you know Wheelchair Jimmy was Drake?
I saw a picture of him.
Oh.
He was watching.
Oh, okay. So, because when I first saw a picture, I was like, this the nigga that's been was anybody like that? Like, this the dude that's hot right now? Because he looked very like
He looked
clean
lame.
and lame. And,
I didn't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
Doug Wise was the one that was like, man, it's Drake. She goes, look, here's Drake. All right, cool. Let me hear it. And the first song I heard was Successful. And I think I cut Doug off for like a week.
Oh
I
man.
was like, y'all don't get this bullshit the fuck out of my face.
I remember it.
Yeah, you was like the
This
only
is the
person.
lunch table conversation.
Yeah.
You was the only person I knew that didn't like Drake.
No, well, that you knew.
That I knew. You was the only
Nobody
person
that I fuck
knew.
with like no
That's what I'm
fucking
saying. The
Drake.
only person I knew in the office that didn't like Drake, it was you.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, no, man, you gotta hear the whole thing. And I got to Houston, that second song, I was like, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Hey.
What the fuck? And it was like every song, Let's Call It Off. I was like, holy shit, this is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. This shit sucks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. But that
Does it
but
still suck?
yes.
Oh my god.
Let's Call It Off.
Tripping.
Let's Call It Off is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. That's the one that's like a weird like pop rock song.
Because remember that
pure-
sound was in back then, right? The little
Yes.
poppy bubblish.
Right.
Yeah. Electronic shit. Yeah.
He was trying to remix like an indie rock song. And I was like, so y'all got sick of like the rap metal shit. Now it's like rap indie rock? No. Man, this whole shit, I was like, this is the first time I actually listened to the whole thing. Back then, I cut the shit off halfway through. I was like, I can't do it anymore. It's so fucking boring.
I remember like before I actually really knowing you, I was like, damn, how did he not like Drake? But then now that
How's he only like good music? You don't like Drake? I don't understand.
right, it's like damn,
It's weird.
I just didn't get it. I didn't get it around the time because I thought everybody liked this shit.
They did.
And then Myke said he didn't. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with Myke?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was wild.
But that was before like me and Myke really started talking. The way I got put on the So Far Gone, one of my best friends, he lives in Toronto, and he told me about him. And this is around the same time Lupe dropped the Cool. Yeah, Nigel, my homie Nigel.
yeah, the Cool
my
was
I
shit
know he's from
too.
Toronto.
Yeah, that's when I always say Toronto, and I have a friend that's out there that.
Oh,
puts me
you know
on
what?
stuff.
I know.
You knew.
No. I always get Nigel confused with James.
Oh,
okay.
I know who
I got
James
you.
is,
Yeah,
but every
yeah,
time
yeah.
you say Nigel, I think James.
I
I'm
got
sorry.
you.
That's my
Wow,
fault.
that's
I'll be
funny.
quiet.
I can see that though.
But yeah, my boy Nigel, he stays out in Toronto, and he told me about this like I want to say maybe like 2 to 3 weeks before like it really blew up, and everybody was talking about it. And he was, oh yeah, you know this guy sing and rap and this that. I said, oh, check out Gemini, because this was around the time Lupe dropped the Cool.
Wow.
And when he was telling me, oh, sing rap, I'm like, shit, Gemini, dope, bro. Just go check out Gemini. And I didn't listen to this. And then everybody started hitting me. Hey, bro, you listen to Drake? You listen to Drake? What do you mean Drake? I turned this shit on and I was amazed. I was amazed because I didn't know of anybody else that was doing this. And to me, like,
Doing what?
Like the whole,
The airy atmosphere.
Yes.
No one was doing that at the
Nah.
time.
like the beats were crazy at the time because I didn't hear anything. Everything I was listening to, you gotta remember, I grew up in the South. I grew up in Miami. I grew up on Uncle Luke.
But even if you didn't, but even if you weren't listening to that, it still sounded dope. Like
sounded
some people
dope.
that did listen to
Exactly,
stuff that more than you
exactly.
did.
Even if this wasn't what you were primarily listening to, obviously, because there wasn't anything like this before to me. But like when Houston Land of Vegas came on, when Successful came on, I was just like, damn, Drake is killing it, Wayne's killing it, Trey killed it, and the more I went into the project, and then ignorant shit, because y'all know how big of a
Ignorant. Get it right, bruh.
ignorant shit.
It's ignorant shit.
I feel you. It is
It ain't ignorant shit.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is. But it's
No, it's
Ignorant, yeah.
It is. And then the song, I can't remember the name of the track, but when Drake says how he lost his phone, the BlackBerry with the side scrolls, give that shit to any rapper that I know. Like, I don't know, man. Drake had me, man. Drake, I was like, man, this guy's spitting.
Why you looking like that?
This dude's
What does that even mean?
It was because like
Give anybody my phone.
no,
Okay.
no, it wasn't
because he's
Mike,
saying
don't
that-
marginalizing Mike.
No, I'm
Man,
asking.
that
I'm
Mike-
asking. I was gonna let you finish.
I'm
but
trying
Ron's
to tell you.
trolling.
I'm not
I was gonna let you
trolling.
finish.
I'm not
fucking song
trolling.
is that?
I get what I get what Feefo said.
It was
It
just
didn't
confusing
stand
to me.
out.
That's all.
Is it still confusing?
Yeah, like how
He was saying that he writes all his rhymes in his phone and he lost it. So
Say he lost
if
it down
somebody-
in Cabo.
Yes, if you find it, give it to somebody that needs it or
Yeah,
whatever, so
a
they can be
rapper.
just as good as me.
Now you know.
I'm just saying. That's what he said.
You just snort too.
I thought it was deeper than that. Like that's
Nah,
that's
man, come on.
okay.
What you thought it
What's
was?
interesting about that line is I'm not trying to help you. I'm just trying to add something to it.
Add some more to it.
Remember when he did that freestyle from his phone?
Yeah.
So now you add
Yeah, the West.
that to that line. It's like he received a lot of
Flack,
criticism and
yeah,
flack
yeah.
for freestyling from his phone
at the time.
So you gotta think
But everybody does it now. That's what's crazy.
do they?
Yeah, everybody
So, yeah.
does it now.
So it's just
That's what's
interesting
crazy.
considering that he
Yeah.
received flack for that later on, and he had that line on
I
that
thought
tape.
it was a deeper bar.
No.
That's why I was
No, no, no.
confused when you said, "Oh,
It's
give
not.
my scroll thing with the phone, give that shit to somebody." I'm like,
not at all.
is he just saying I have a bunch of dope raps on my phone, hand it to somebody? That's it?
Yes, and
So they can use it and be hot.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. I'm not shit. I ain't shit on the bar.
Cool bar.
It's cool.
I'm trying to find it.
I'm not saying it's
You
like
ain't gotta find it. I get it now. It's just not that hard to me. Sorry.
It was dope.
Back then it was like, you go online, you download your shit, everybody listens to different shit. You're always looking for, trying to find what, the next thing or the next hot thing or whatever. Music rarely left the internet and became mainstream. And this as a mixtape that was posted to blogs, when I would walk to Barnes and Nobles over there by Georgia Tech and I'm hearing the shit playing in the car,
Cars, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
I had never heard anything like that
Yeah.
before. That something actually
Made it
basically,
to outside the internet.
it ventured outside of the internet. Yeah, it was actually in the fucking street.
And it wasn't
That
just
was
black
that
people.
moment, though.
A lot of albums. That was Cuddy that did that. That
Yeah.
was Mickey Fax. Same time. Who else was out at that same time?
What's Charles Hamilton?
Charles Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like that was like a moment where a bunch of rappers.
Yeah, they
and
started
I didn't like any of their projects.
You didn't like Charles Hamilton?
That first one was dope.
I didn't like any of their projects. I was like, what is this weird internet shit? And that was when I was like, internet is the worst thing for hip hop because it's birthing all these whack rappers. I don't believe that
Cudi
now,
too?
but I didn't like Cuddy's first mixtape. Remember, this was the mixtape. This wasn't Man on the
Kid
Moon.
Named
This was
Cudi.
Kid Named
But see, I
Cudi.
like the kid named
See, I
Cudi.
didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a bootleg Kanye, so I didn't like any of that shit. Any of those albums that came out during that weird internet moment, I was like, I don't like any of this shit. This is terrible. I don't still shit on it, but I get it. But
No, I get what you're saying.
We didn't know that would become a pivotal moment
Yeah.
in hip hop. I think that's interesting looking back on it 10 years from now. Yeah.
Yeah, just that moment in general.
Yeah.
Not just the Drake thing, but that moment.
That
was an
moment.
interesting moment.
Yeah.
Cool Kids, that was the only one I did like.
Yeah.
that was the one I did like that came out. I was like,
Those cool kids,
were dope.
kids in the hall, like
Kids in
they
the Hall, I
can-
like them
yeah.
too. Well, no, I didn't like that mixtape though. I liked
Oh,
the
okay.
album.
Yeah.
After, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
The one that had Driving Down the Block on it.
So B, how you feel about So Far Gone, man?
yeah, you ain't saying
Oh,
shit.
y'all been y'all been
You seem
talking.
so far gone. You just out the, out the video.
Oh, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I like the few joints on here. I mean, it's still probably if it was a Drake album I listened to, it would be this one.
So you always thought it was just cool, even when it first came out.
I never understood the whole
The
hype
hype.
that everybody was saying about it and everything, saying like this was just, oh man, this dude is just such a dope, all the accolades they was giving him at the time, and I was just like, I don't hear it that much. I mean, but it's still listening to future Drake projects when we was reviewing them. I'm like, I still find myself going back listening to this more than anything that he's released. Up to this point, like I still think this is his best work he's made in his career, in my opinion.
I don't know about that. Because
What do you think is his best work?
maybe nothing was the same. If I give you one, but
nothing was the same is up there for me.
This is still probably his best overall project.
No,
This is one of the most boring things I've ever listened to.
Yeah, when I go
listened
back
a
to
whole
it,
lot of other
it
Drake
doesn't. It
covers.
didn't age well for me.
Really?
It's so boring.
Nah.
Do you think maybe because you played it a lot back then?
No, I don't even think that's it. I think when I listened to it, I was like, man, this is like the sappiest shit he's ever made.
So it ain't
I was like,
I forgot to call you on your birthday.
yeah, I was just like, damn.
Yo, don't get this shit the fuck out of here, man.
I get where you coming from.
Wait,
Rod.
I thought Take Care was the most sappiest shit in my
Not like this.
Nah,
Not like this,
Not like
man.
this.
Not like
Not like
this.
this.
Well, I haven't listened to Take Care.
Take Care had some upbeat songs.
Yeah,
This shit
Take Care
sounds like you want to slit your fucking wrists.
I don't remember Take Care having a beat song. But
Yeah,
More than
Lord knows. Lord knows.
Yeah,
hell
Lord
fucking
knows
right.
was like that's
Like-
just
like-
Blaze. That's just Blaze.
I know that's only one song.
Nah, he got
got a
multiple
few
joints
though.
on that. He got
I'm gonna look. Hold up.
Right,
I
I
don't remember
100%
because I haven't listened to the
agree.
album, so I don't know.
Right, I agree that this is sappy, especially revisiting it.
Yeah, revisiting it was sappy.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, like it
was sappy
feels
when it came out.
like the mood of it. The mood of this project feels very depressing,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it does, like beats and stuff. However, like again, I think there's about 4 or 5 tracks out of this that I can take away and be like, yo, this was.
Oh yeah. That was some of that's what
Exactly.
I'm saying.
So
But
I
before I could play this shit straight
1000%.
And I was just like, I was listening to it, I was like, damn, I can't play this straight through anymore.
Nah,
You got better taste.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, hey, it is
Your
what it
taste
is.
got refined.
Hey, that's
Listen
fine.
to this shit.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, but at the time, that shit was.
Or maybe-
You know what it was? I think too, Mike. It was different. It was different at the time.
It was very, very,
You know what I'm
very
saying? So I was like, oh man, this is different. You know what I'm saying? So I could play it straight through.
And I think that speaks to the hype that B was talking about. I think because it was so different and the way that he took like all these different styles and put them into one, and the way he sequenced them, like the ode that he did to DJ Screw, like that chopping screw thing, you know, was dope because I was a big fan of that shit. Of course, there was the singing, there was the way that some of the tracks broke off into separate tracks, and kind of speaking of what again you were saying, it was different, or what you guys two were discussing.
Yeah.
It was just so different at the time compared to all the other stuff that was out there. Like Raph was saying, we haven't heard anybody really take two styles and blend them together to come across accessible for a lot of people.
I think it was a big question mark about who the hell Drake was when he first came out. Because
Yeah, it was a mystique.
It was a mystique
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we didn't, at least me
Why
personally
you
at the
like
time,
that?
well, I kind of knew because my boy obviously from Toronto told me, but if you just listen to the music, like Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, right? Like, okay, and then you got Uptown, the one that we talking about, the old.
It's like, yeah, who is this
Yeah,
guy?
he got Bun B, he got all these Southern artists. He's you know big on Southern rap.
Close
but
to Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne discovered him, so to speak. It was just like, what the hell?
I don't-
Why you look? Wait, before you go. What's the look?
I thought it was common knowledge that he just came from a bunch of money.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. We didn't know
Nah,
that.
it wasn't that.
So y'all couldn't use the fucking computer?
Like, okay, so in defense
That's
of
that's a genuine question. I'm a
you
little bit
are
lost.
right. Like I want to say, but you got to remember, like,
everybody was caught up in the moment.
everybody
No,
was caught
I'm
up in
past the moment.
all right,
Y'all
right.
saying who's the mystique and all.
Right.
He was on one of the biggest, maybe not to y'all, but it was like
Yeah.
the biggest show out of Canada.
But
Yeah,
listen, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I didn't know about Degrassi, and it wasn't like, I know you're saying like use Google searches, but that wasn't, looking up music like that wasn't like that back then. If
I
you
was
remember.
there, I remember, but I remember seeing his face and be like, oh, that's
That's
Jimmy.
what I'm saying. For months, I didn't even know what he looked like.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep,
Yeah.
me neither. Me neither.
I didn't even know
see
what he
no
looked
picture
like.
of Drake. I just knew So Far Gone was so dope.
It didn't have
Everybody's
his picture on
listening
it,
to
Mike.
I know the album didn't, but I
Yeah.
remember when it came out, when I went home to find the album, because Doug was going on and on about it. I went home, I Googled it, it came up, and at some point during that Google search, I remember seeing his face and
He
being like,
became Wheelchair
that's
Jimmy.
Wheelchair Jimmy.
Yes.
Because he used to rap on Degrassi, and he was whacked then too.
Right.
So, I was like,
So think about it. You knowing that, you seeing that picture, you're automatically gonna identify it.
I thought this is the first time I didn't know that. I
Exactly.
didn't know that
So
people didn't
if
know
I
that.
go search and I see this random light skinned,
Yep.
I'm like,
God,
oh, he
I know.
can't be a rapper. That's
But
not
you'd
him.
have just read, and it would have said, "Oh, this is Aubrey Graham from
People
Degrassi."
ain't gonna do that though.
No.
They not gonna read.
And
I wasn't
go
not
as
at
far
that
as
time. Not that time.
It depends on like kind of what you were paying attention to or what
Right.
you knew at the time. When he broke out, a lot of people didn't know who he was. Right. But if you were familiar with some of his previous work, you want to know A, how the hell you get Lil Wayne and Bun B and all these people on your shit. B, this sound is completely different from what you were doing before. So what the fuck is up with that?
I didn't know what he was doing before.
Yeah. So, you know. So what the fuck was up with that? No.
His first project.
Comeback Season and Room for Improvement.
Oh, yeah, 2 before this.
Yes,
But
which is
they didn't sound
on
like this.
no, completely like underground. Yes. Yeah.
He was a backpack rapper.
I did know that because he was doing music with Little Brother. I did know that.
Yeah. That was the thing. So
He
you
had a song with Fonte and Elsa.
Yeah.
Elsa, what did I say? I say Eric Roberson. I meant Dwelle. Was Dwelle on that song too, right?
I don't know. No, it was just him. Fonte
It was
and
Fonte,
Elsa.
Elsa. I thought Dwelle was singing the backgrounds on that song. I'll look it up. But
Possibly. Yeah, I know.
So it was that part of it. If you were familiar with that, it was the Degrassi thing that people already knew, which I didn't know. But then he became Wheelchair Jimmy, which became a joke because the little thing of him running and getting shot. And then
Back like a bitch.
but for most people, this was the first one that they heard, especially when he popped into the streets. So he's not on here. He has no cover. He got Wayne. It's like, who the fuck is this dude? So that's what. So all of that stuff packaged into one created this thing that just exploded.
I didn't know y'all didn't know that.
I had no clue, bro. That's what I was saying when I first saw him. I was like, this is the guy?
Cause see, I think that's kind of what also poisoned it for me.
Oh, okay.
Because it seemed phony.
Oh, wow.
When it came out.
Yeah,
at the time, this was what year was this? 90, not 90, sorry, 2004, 5, something like that.
Like 10.
2009.
Yeah.
What's
2009,
2009?
2010.
Yeah. This came out in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the time, I remember when this came out, and I was like, this is the dude that's a fucking actor on the quote-unquote whitest show you could possibly have. And I was like, it's bizarre that this dude is now like this big popular rapper.
Right.
So I was just confused by the whole shit. I knew it was a phenomenon.
I could see that being a
didn't
turn off.
understand it.
I could definitely see that being a turn off.
Because he was like, nigga this and nigga that, and I'm like, what the fuck? You're on Degrassi. This is weird.
What's interesting though, I didn't know about that. And I was thinking back, like, what if I did? How would I looked at him then? Like, because would I have had a different view of Drake knowing that he came from this show that had the whitest show as you described on TV?
Because I kind of looked at him differently once I figured out what he looked like. I'm like,
because I probably would have had a different thing.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Not racist.
Him being on that show, doing music like this, and then also coming from what he did. And just to clear up real quick, Think Good Thoughts, right, B, was the one that had Fonte and Elza on it, and Don't You Have a Man was the one that had Dwelle and Little Brother on it for people. And so y'all don't fact zone
That
in
was
the
on
comment
their
section.
album, wasn't it? That song wasn't on Little
It was
Brother's album.
it was on Comeback Season.
Yeah.
Drake's previous mixtape before. So
How did I hear it? I know I didn't hear that fucking mixtape.
did you like
Which was
this?
interesting.
I thought you did. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought so.
Everybody on Earth like
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this.
Everybody did.
Except for you and B.
People treated you like you had some kind of incurable disease if you didn't like this.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I didn't
Absolutely.
understand.
And I was like, y'all
Absolutely.
corny as fuck. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you got
Degrassi
bad
rap.
music taste.
I was like, that's fine. I'll be that. I didn't shit on nobody for liking it. I mean, I joke now.
Right,
But at the time, I was just like, all right, y'all like this old boring ass album? That's cool.
But I think again, like if I had the same history that you had, I probably would have felt very similar because I was about real rappers, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that didn't
Yours was
hurt
about
it.
the music.
Mine was about the music plus the fact that he was Wheelchair Jimmy. Like I said, it just seemed odd that he came from this guy that was on Degrassi crying because he got shot in the back, was in a wheelchair trying to play basketball and shit. It was all his shit from the show. And then on top of it, I found this to be painfully boring. So I was just like, I don't understand it, but I think it's interesting. I just stayed away from it.
And I think that's kind of what Ron and I are saying is, what if we knew he was Wheelchair Jimmy on Degrassi?
I don't think
and
it would
the
have
corner?
hurt you liking the album.
I think it would
I
have
think
though,
it would have because there's a certain image that would have came with it that you had. So you had this.
The image fit. That's what y'all.
When you really look at it, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
The
When you
image
really look
fit.
at it, it does. But when you add like the Bun B's of the world and the Lil Waynes of the world, which are a different image, it's like, why is this dude with these?
Nah, bro, because like,
I'm just letting you know. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a big
The
cosign. The
cosign.
cosign. Yeah, it was like, why are, especially Bun B. Lil Wayne, okay, fine. Bun B? Like, why the fuck is Bun B on here? You know? So that was odd to me. So then you throw in everything else, it was like, okay, the package, why it may have fit, I was like, man, get that shit out of here. This was corny. Because, and here's why I say that, because after this, he dropped the EP, he dropped Thank Me Later.
Right.
Drake was every damn where. And remember, he fell down on stage.
Right.
That was way later.
But I'm going somewhere with it. So he started to fall down on stage. He was just everywhere. He was
super
doing
corny.
too much.
Just corny.
And he couldn't hide it anymore. So there was a mystique and a mystery built into it because I didn't know about Degrassi.
Oh,
so I didn't know I didn't know he was corny.
Oh.
So then now he's everywhere. He's doing all this other stuff. And then the music started to shift and change. And then all of a sudden it was like, and I remember it to this day. I turned around to him. I said, Drake needs to sit his fucking ass down somewhere because he's doing too fucking much.
Right.
Because he was starting to ruin how people perceived him, and his image was changing. And at that point, he started to become corny, and then the jokes really started to filter out and take over.
I'm just a little bit still confused. What image did he have for y'all? Because when I listened to
There
this,
wasn't one.
but I'm saying you ruined his image. You're saying he ruined his image when he was being too corny. When I listened to this album, it made sense that it was Wheelchair Jimmy because it was so corny. He's in here begging girls like, "Oh, I know I waited too long, but please don't move on." That's some corny ass
100%.
shit. So what image was there for him to ruin? He came out the gate corny.
No, but the thing, look at the
I'm not shitting on it. I want to make very
of course,
clear.
but like look at the project cover, right? Like Comeback Season has his face all over it, right? And
So y'all saw his
I
face.
didn't listen to Comeback Season.
Exactly.
So you
no.
late.
No. A lot
my
of
back to your ass.
a lot of people didn't know Drake before this. This was the introduction.
So y'all didn't go
You didn't-
back?
Huh?
You didn't go back after you liked this one so much?
Eventually, I did.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually.
Because the mixtape started surfacing after this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like his first two mixtapes became way bigger after this
Then it
and
turned
even
into
after the album.
And just to interject, it became backpackers versus mainstream.
Yes. He kind of created that division a little bit.
At least with him.
With
because it
him,
sounds
with him.
So different.
Oh, I'm about to
Exactly.
say, don't make me
Just with him.
Just with him.
Gotcha.
But when this came out, nobody knew what he looked like.
I'm gonna go back and listen to the other
We didn't know. You look at the cover art, you're like, who is this guy? To me, the perception that I built up of this person that I'm listening to the music wasn't a corny person.
Right.
Who was it?
He was a guy that was affiliated with Cool Ass Wayne.
Yeah,
We're
with
past
Bun
the
B.
cool ass.
But that's what I'm saying. He's
when you're listening
affiliated
to
with
the
them.
music. Were y'all just not listening to the fucking
No,
music?
we were.
Not really, because it was like we were, but it was just like I said, the he wasn't the big act on it. It was like he was with Wayne, so I was listening to it for Wayne, and it's like, oh, this dude Drake is
Wayne's
is kind
on
of dope.
2 songs. That's it.
Wayne, Bun B, Trey Songz. These are all people that I was already
He's on
listening
like
to.
4 or 5 songs. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the
Yeah.
track
He
list
is?
now.
Yeah.
Is
The
it
one
really?
that's on iTunes now, he's on 4.
Yeah. He was all over this
That's
thing.
4.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
fuck. I
But yeah, just the perception of the music, it didn't match.
Yes. So what? That's what I'm still lost on. And again, I'm not calling whatever. I'm confused of what perception y'all got because listening to the music, the second I put it on, I was like, this dude sounds corny. You the fucking best, baby. You the best. Did y'all think he was a thug? Like I'm lost.
No, we didn't necessarily think he was a thug, but we thought like he was super cool. Obviously, like to Rod's point, no, for real.
No, you said you thought he was super cool, but then you found
I'm not saying that he is now, but I'm just saying the perception felt like he was a super cool dude because of everybody that he had on here, and he held his own, and the music was dope, and we never heard this, so he has to be cool.
So you were listening to the
No, we are listening to the lyrics.
Because you know, typically, quote unquote, cool guys get away with certain shit, like being
Not this
corny.
much.
But you can though.
No,
you
you can't.
I'm
This is a
telling you,
lie.
you can.
He did, though.
You can though.
Name me any other rapper that could have got away
I'm
with
not just
putting
saying. I'm
this
just talking
much
about
corny shit on one album.
people in general, like in school
Oh,
or
you're talking
whatever,
about
stuff
in
like
general.
that. Yeah, just in general. Like
Oh, I thought you meant rap.
you kind of get a pass in a sense because like, he's a cool guy. He can say that shit or he can do that shit. And it was kind of the same thing with Drake.
It really became the same thing with Drake.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's like, well, he's cool. You know, he can rap about that shit. He can sing if he wants to.
Like 10 years later, he changed.
Yeah.
Bruh, we got the cosigns.
That's huge,
But,
though.
but we're not debating the cosigns. Stop
Right, that's
talking
why
about
I went past the cosigns,
I'm talking about
yeah.
the music because the only other rapper I knew that was this sentimental and sensitive was Slug. But the difference was it wasn't this much. Like he'll rap about some like battle type shit, and then there'll be a sensitive song, and then there'll be some other things. When I listened to this, all I heard was sensitivity. And again, I'm not clowning it. I just didn't understand how anyone would have got anything other than this is a very sensitive guy that's in his feelings, rapping about his feelings.
But kind of to what he was saying, Slug can get away with it, right? Because of
the other shit. There was no other shit here. That's why I'm lost.
But I'm kind of thinking that Drake, while he didn't have the other shit, I think building in the cosigns, I know you're trying to move past it, but I think that was a big thing.
It was.
Building up the cosigns took a little bit of the corniness off because you're thinking in your head,
He can't be corny because he has cool friends.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's like when you cool with the cool kids, shit change a little bit. It just does.
So you just ignored the corniness. Not that it wasn't there.
It's there.
You ignored
but you ignore it because of the people that he's around.
They'll be hanging around this dude.
Exactly.
You know, shit like that, no way.
Exactly.
Like a nigga like Bun B?
Yeah.
Nah, bro, you not hanging around corny folk. So let me ask y'all. So is Drake the biggest hip hop artist ever?